Everybody check your fly.
Okay, so I want to welcome everyone to this week's edition of the Northern Nerdcast, where we showcase the geeky and nerdy people, groups, and events that happen in and around the Edmonton area. The Northern Nerdcast is a proud member of the Alberta Podcast Network, powered by ATV. Please feel free to head on over to albertapodcastnetwork.com for a list of amazing Alberta-made podcasts. We would also like to encourage everyone out there that if you enjoy this episode, to share it with all your friends on social media. This way, we are able to help grow the community here in Edmonton and keep everyone up to date on the latest news and information regarding the geeky and nerdy people, groups, and events. Also, if you or someone you know would like to be featured on our show, please feel free to contact us over at northernnerdnetwork.com. Now, let's get on with the show.
Do you guys have theme music?
It's so fancy, isn't it? All right, so welcome back once again to the Northern Nerdcast. My name is Dan Schessel. Today, of course, we have the lovely, the gracious, the most amazingest co-hostess ever.
Well, shucks. Nerdcasting always makes my day with an intro like that. Thanks, Dan.
Today we also have joining us the equally as awesome, the great and wonderful Kelly Tindall.
Tell me how pretty I am. Hi, guys.
The lovely and talented Kelly Tindall.
That's how I introduce myself to strangers.
Mm-hmm.
You got to know right up front that it's, it's the way it is.
Yeah, if they don't get it already, I think the best thing to do is just reiterate the point. By the way, gorgeous,
lovely, and talented.
Mm-hmm. I often go with internationally renowned as well.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that it's true, but it sounds good.
I'm known across the universes. Yeah, way it works. All right. So yes, we are going to be talking with Kelly a bit about what he's up to. But first off, we'd like to ask everyone who's on our show. I didn't even ask you beforehand. Did you have something prepared for the Geek Shelf thing?
What do you mean? Like I read the email. There was like something cool that you're into.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or not cool. Not cool. Nerdy.
Nerdy. If you have something like usually
something fun on display.
Someone usually, we always have a Geek Shelf, right? Everyone has.
Right.
You have one right behind you. I don't know what that thing is.
That's not even the main one. That's just a little teeny tiny one. Besides being an internationally renowned cartoonist, I'm also a collector of 80s action figures, as many people like me are. You guys want to see the latest cool thing?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Always.
Oh, yeah.
So you guys know about Transformers, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody knows Transformers.
Mm-hmm.
The horrible, horrible movies, all that sort of good stuff. We know about that. They've all given us brain damage. We know how that goes. But you guys are probably less familiar with GoBots.
I am not less familiar, but yes, I love GoBots. Just, I think they're better.
Yeah, I like them too. Anyway, so this is something.
They're not necessarily better. They're just different. They're just, I don't know if they're not necessarily a knockoff of the old.
They're contemporaries.
Yeah.
Just
anyways,
widely less successful contemporaries. They didn't have cool Marvel Comics guys naming them and giving them stuff. Anyway, I only found out last year that they did combiners, GoBot combiners.
Really?
Yeah, like how Transformers has Devastators made up of a bunch of little dudes, that sort of thing. So they have 2 GoBot combiners, and this one is probably my favorite.
Ooh.
Now, what fancy name is? Yeah, I want to know what the fancy name is.
He's imaginatively called Monstrous. But the word monster and the word us together. Anyway, he's made up of 6 little guys. He's a little on the floppy side. But his components are called Top Guy, Fright Face, Heart Attack. Do robots have hearts? I don't know.
This one does.
Weird Wing, South Claw, Gore Jaw, right over here, and this guy's probably got the most imaginative name out of all of them, Fangs.
Hmm.
Anyway,
now I'm kind of curious about South Claw there. What happens if he goes north? Can he only go south? Is that...
his sense of direction is terrible, but he hangs out with a lot of other misnomer type dudes. Oh, I'm gonna put him down there because he is old. He is also very floppy and doesn't stick together very well. He's an old timer. We'll just let him sit for a bit.
So now, where'd you find that one?
Oh, bits and pieces all over the internet.
Nice.
You're just mostly finding them online?
Yeah, I really like looking for something that's hard to find but not expensive.
And GoBots would be one of those things.
Yeah, totally. Like, you can't find it very easily, but you do find that people are like, you can just have it. It's fine. People send me photos of them and are like, do you have this? Do you want this? Does anybody want this? I'm like, kind of. I'm not really a huge GoBots guy, but Monstrous is pretty sweet. I like this guy a lot.
That's awesome. Now, I've seen some of your collection of your Transformers. It's quite extensive, isn't it?
I do okay. I've kind of scaled it back a little bit. I'm trying to kind of clear space a little bit. My big focus right now is I really like the Inhumanoids. That was it's kind of a bit more obscure as one of the post-Transformers cartoons. It's about these guys in robot suits who battle against these giant Lovecraft monsters that live at the center of the earth. That's this guy back here, this little green fella.
That one I have not heard of.
Oh, it's terrific. It's delightful. And they knew that they'd already been canceled partway through making the show. So the last batch of episodes are just crazy. They didn't have to adhere to anything or toys or anything like that. They went for it. It's great.
You gotta like when you get it to the point with any kind of series that you know you got nothing to lose.
Yeah, the DGAF point.
Yeah, it's just like just throw whatever you want at the window. It's fine.
Mm-hmm. That's where the stuff comes from. That's where David Letterman came up with Stupid Pet Tricks. That was on a show that had already been canceled, so they just decided to do whatever they wanted, and then they took everything to the new show.
That's right.
Yeah, everybody should be canceled at least once.
Awesome. All right, so it's been so long since we've had any kind of interaction here, Chelsea. How have you been? How was your Thanksgiving?
My Thanksgiving was really mellow. I've been fighting the sniffles. School started back in September. As many of our listeners and viewers are parents and are well aware. And so I started back picking up shifts with the school board and surrounding myself once again with lovely little children and their terrible, terrible germs. And of course, right off the bat, my immune system, having had a break over the summer, deacclimatized and was brutally attacked the second I stepped foot back into school. Much to the chagrin of my boyfriend, I brought germs home and immediately made him sick, which I don't. He blames me for, and rightly he should. I've been doing a little bit better. It's sort of been on the verge of like a cold, of just like that congestion. And so I'm kind of hoping that I can hold it off before it becomes like a full-blown cold. But yeah, so other than that, trucking along, picking up some days on shift, doing some fun background. There's a couple new pilots gearing up and shooting in town, which I've got to do some background on in the last couple of weeks, which has been fun. And yeah, that's about it.
Awesome.
How about you?
Me? So far, I've been listening to a lot of audiobooks. Still, I made it through all of Brandon Sanderson's. I can't remember. Not Mistborn. The other one. Anyways, I started Mistborn. Anyways, because I ran through the other ones. Yeah, it's really good. Like his writing is really good. I'm already on the second book of that one, Mistborn, and so yeah, that's mine. We did 2 Thanksgiving dinners, stuffed with turkey now. Fantastic. So much leftovers. And what else? I'm back here. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Back at work? Made the trek back up?
Yeah. I am, however, for people out there who are watching and are listening to this, I am planning on doing Extra Life this year. So if you guys can, in support of the children at the Edmonton Stollery, I do have a way for you guys to donate to that. So if you guys are, anybody out there is interested in donating to the cause, I do have a link. I believe it's in the description down below. So that's that. That's all I'm going to say for that right now. We do have the Extra Life coming on the show a little bit later on weeks. So stay tuned for that.
Woohoo!
Yeah. How about yourself, Kelly? It's been a couple of years since we've talked online here. I've talked to you at conventions and things like that, but
Right.
How's it been? How was your Thanksgiving?
Thanksgiving, it was good. It was very, very nuclear family. Just hanging out with the grandparents and my kids got to play with their cousins and doing that sort of stuff. And that was about it. I mean, it was very much a prototypical Thanksgiving. It wouldn't even make a good romantic comedy or anything like that. Like there was no fights or anything like that. Nobody fell over into some pie or anything like that. Pretty chill.
I mean, Thanksgiving is not really Thanksgiving unless someone falls into a pie. I mean, really.
Yeah. It's like you gotta sneak your grandmother a Mike's Hard Lemonade or something like that at the very least.
Before things get really crazy.
Yeah.
Bring it up a little bit. I was just happy to have some time off. I mean, I've just completed work on 2 new books, which I'll be telling you guys all about, or at least as much as I'm allowed to talk about.
Yeah.
And I got the official email on Saturday that the final files had been delivered, which was really, really nice. It's nice to not, be pulling 14-hour days and that sort of thing. Although it's been strange. I've been able to watch TV at night and hang out with my family and things like that. This weekend, I'm going to do stuff with my kids. It's going to be crazy.
Well, that sounds amazing. Right now I'm stuck up in Fort McMurray, so I don't even get to see my kids that much. So when I do it was so nice to have a weekend at home. 4 days at home, so it was nice. Got to spend so much time. We got to play board games. We got to play King Domino, which is a new game we picked up. It was a lot of fun. Uno, my kids love Uno.
Oh, okay. I need to sidebar for a moment. I'm gonna put my laptop down and run and grab something really quickly because I feel it is so important that I need to interrupt the show to show you, Dan. You will understand why. Just hang on a second.
Yeah, so I'm just going to fill space by talking about absolutely nothing. People are going to love the show so much more.
Oh, I'm super good at talking about nothing.
Oh, isn't it great being able to just take just any time, to fill space with absolute ramble and.
Of course, I've never been bored a minute in my life.
Exactly. Fantastic.
So in our household, my boyfriend and I are collectors of eclectic art, most of which we find at Value Village that are just come full circle from so horribly bad that they're amazing. So we have a giant 4 foot tall painting of a Spanish sailing ship and amazing, a fully embroidered picture of a French aristocrat and amazing. But part of our collection includes much fun comic book art. Right now, across the wall from me in my bedroom, I'm staring at a whole bunch of Adventure Time posters, and we have a whole bunch of Adventure Time posters in the living room. But we've been in search of some artwork for our kitchen. And Tim went out to the Value Village and was the other day and was if I find any awesome artwork, should I just bring it home? And I was is that even a real question? Obviously, of course you should. So he came home with this little gem for the kitchen. Do you recognize this artwork, Dan?
It's Sushi Go.
It is Sushi Go.
Did he know that was Sushi Go?
No, he didn't, and my brain didn't pick up on it. So he brought it home and showed it to me, and I'm like, "It's so bright and colorful and cheerful. That's amazing sushi art for the kitchen." And then we took it to the kitchen and left it there. And the next morning, I'm in the kitchen making breakfast, and I'm like, "Why does that cheerful sushi look so familiar? Oh wait, it's Sushi Go." And the significance of this is that whenever I come home to Edmonton for a visit and come home to visit Dan and his wonderful family, Trina and their kids, it is a favorite game. And actually, Dan's kids are the ones who taught me how to play Sushi Go. So there, sidebar over, returning to podcast. But I just needed to show that to you.
Well, the funny thing about a little bit about Sushi Go in our family is that my kid, he really wanted to buy something one day. Just he was itching to go. He wanted to buy a board game. It was one of his life goals that he wanted to do. So he got his piggy bank out. He's like, "Dad, I want to buy a board game." So I took him to Mission Fun and Games, and we bought Sushi Go, and that is Nehemiah's game. That's his game. He holds ultimate authority over top of that game.
And he's an amazing strategist. Like when I play him as a grown-up, I don't hold back because he's totally gonna kick my butt if I do.
Yeah, no, he's good. Yeah, so every time I have to bring it out to a party because it is a really fun game. He's like, I have to go over to Nehemiah. I'm like, "Nehemiah, is it okay if we bring this game with us?" "Yes, Dad, it's fine." All right.
Anyway, interruption over. Back to our amazing guest of the evening, the internationally renowned, lovely, and talented.
We're just going to keep adding on top of that all night long.
Just go all the way for the adjectives. Just pernicious, effluviant, diabolical.
Ooh, I like effluviant.
Mm-hmm. Salubrious is a good one too.
First off, we're just going to do a quick, what's it called? Ad break.
Mm-hmm.
And we will get back to talking with Kelly. So please stay tuned.
Tell the good people what they need to know, Dan.
Yes. All right. So we have a new affiliated podcast I want to talk a little bit about. And it's called Let's Do Coffee, presented by Nate's Maui Center. And it is this is Maui, MAWJI. Is that how Maui?
I don't know.
That's what I'm calling it now. It's this new venture and student entrepreneurship at Nate. Every entrepreneur has a story to tell, lessons to learn, and wisdom earned. In Edmonton, many of the most successful entrepreneurs are very willing to share their stories and expertise, but they don't have time to have coffee. But they don't have time to have coffee with all of us. So the Maui Center, led by Max Frank, is tapping into that wealth of knowledge on behalf with his new podcast. The bi-weekly show will feature interviews with students, entrepreneurs, and alumni from the Northern Alberta Institute of Technology. You can get a sense of what the podcast will be like from this trailer episode, and I will have the link in the description down below for you guys. And you guys can also hear episode 1 featuring Chef Maui, the center's namesake, and the founder of the Upside Software, Trust Science, and other software-related companies. Host and Nate student Daniel Van Valen digs into his origin story and unlocks some valuable advice. So I'm going to leave a link for you guys to check out our new affiliated podcast that's up on our Alberta Podcast Network, powered by ATV. So go check that out. It's called Let's Do Coffee. And it sounds like it's going to be a great show. I'm kind of interested to check this out. I'm going to probably add it to my my podcast list that I always keep updating. I update that thing so much now. I have so many shows. I have a hard time keeping up with everything. But love podcasts. So if you guys want to check that out, it's Let's Do Coffee. And it sounds like it's going to be a good time. And I'll have all those links in the description down below for everyone. All right.
Woohoo!
All right. So today on the Nerdcast, we have Kelly Tindall returning once again to grace us with his presence. I know he gets so super important, and he doesn't want to come on to our show all the time. Just kidding.
Hey, the last time you guys invited me, I have a pretty good excuse. I was in Hawaii.
This is true.
That's rough.
Yeah.
I'm glad you managed that one.
I had to cry into my margarita.
Mm-hmm.
My salty tears mixed with the Pacific Ocean.
Yeah. Awesome. So we're so glad you were able to make it on the show now. You have so much going on. You got a couple of new books that you're working on. Tell us a little bit about at least one of them.
What you can.
What you can. What can you tell me? All
right, I'll give the viewers at home the breakdown. I'm a cartoonist. I've been working for 10 years now. I'm probably best known for my 2 webcomics. I do one called Strangebeard, about the world's deadliest pirate, who's also a 12-year-old girl. And I do The Adventurers, which is a diary comic about my 2 little daughters and all of the amazing things that kids say and do. Earlier this year, I was nominated for a Schuster Award for my work on those comics, which was pretty great. I lost, but I lost to some really great creators, so I'm very flattered just to be associated with them. And earlier, was it this year or last year? I have a hard time telling. I recently won an award for my hardcover collection of The Adventurers as well.
Which is a fantastic book.
Thank you. It's a hard sell at comic book conventions. It's a black and white book about my kids. Like, it's kind of tough, but like as a bookstore book and as a book fair book, it does really well. So I'm glad that people are responding to it really well. And a big shout out to anybody who picked it up. My other book, Strangebeard, I wanted to mention that one because Volume 1 is actually out of print right now. But my master plan includes not only the reprinting of that one, but also the printing of Volume 2, because I'm only 10 pages away from finishing it. So people have been asking me about that one for years, and I've been working at it slowly, but it's kind of my focus now that I'm done the other 2 books.
Nice.
Are you going to be working 14-hour days in order to get that one done?
I am not, sir. I am not. I am doing a solid like 11 to 4 schedule most days on that one for the time being, I think. The last 2 books, the thing that's been keeping me busy for basically the last year is I got a 2-book deal with Simon, an affiliate of Simon & Schuster. And they're doing a series of historical biography comic books, 90-page hardcover historical comics. They're doing 4 of them for 2019, and I ended up drawing 2 of them. The 4 are going to be Abraham Lincoln, Martin Luther King Jr., and the 2 that I ended up doing, Amelia Earhart and Alexander Hamilton.
Nice.
Which is, of course, the person you want to draw your American history comic is definitely a dumb Canadian. The absolute best person for the gig. So I had to do a lot of reading before I got to work on these guys. The Earhart stuff wasn't so bad. I was kind of tangentially familiar with the story, but the Hamilton one is about the founding of America itself. So, oh boy.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, Amelia Earhart, I can understand. What was the other one you said?
Alexander Hamilton.
Alexander Hamilton?
Yes.
That one might be a little bit more tricky to do.
He had a tremendous life. He had a really interesting life, and he was kind of like, he was never president or anything like that, but he founded the Treasury. He was the general of the U.S. Army. He founded Annapolis. He founded the American currency. He founded the New York Times, or the New York Post, sorry. All these different little things. He was one of those guys that was sort of building the foundations of America as a country. And then he had the great end to his story where he was shot to death by the vice president in 1804.
Wow.
Yeah,
There's a reason Lin-Manuel Miranda made an amazing hip hop musical about him.
Yeah, I haven't listened to a single second of any of it because I don't like listening to music outside of the context of the musical itself because I think it kind of loses something. But I'm really keen to see it now that I've spent like a year on and off working on a book about Hamilton's actual life. He was a really interesting fellow.
The
Shut himself in
touring,
the foot a bunch.
the
Yeah,
touring
hopefully tour
production
too.
should be making its rounds in the next couple of years.
Yeah. Oh, it's gonna play forever. It's gonna
Yeah.
be like Les Mis. People are gonna get sick of it in 20 years. But I think that's one of the reasons that he got picked for the first round of the 4 books too, is that he's kind of hot right now. I mean, a lot of the biographies I read before I started working on the book had mention of the musical, and that kind of thing. And it's like, yeah, you totally got to play lip service to the reason you exist.
He is the new hotness right now.
Yeah, he is. And I mean, Hamilton himself is a pretty cool individual. And I was pretty happy to be able to work on the book. And the neat thing about the book, I don't think I have any of the artwork around here. Nobody on the kind of the group called me on it, but I kind of unintentionally made Hamilton himself look like the Joker.
But if you're gonna do Hamilton, it just makes sense, right?
But the thing is, if you look at it, he's on the $10 bill. Like, he's a legit individual. But if you look at him on the $10 bill, he's got that wavy, swooped back hair, and he's got that kind of sloping Roman nose, like the Joker. He's got kind of like that pleasing almond-shaped chin and stuff like that. If you look at him, you're kind
Very
of like,
patrician features, yeah.
yeah, this guy's kind of Jokery. And then just because I didn't want him to look too much like a bad guy, since Aaron Burr shows up throughout the book, and he's the villain because he's the one that ends up killing Hamilton himself. Can you imagine if Joe Biden shot Ted Cruz to death? Like, it's so crazy to imagine, but that's something that actually happened a couple of centuries ago. Anyway, so when Aaron Burr shows up, I kind of made him look a little bit like Norman Osborn. He's kind of got the same hair where it's kind of like the lines in the hair and the widow's peak, and he's got these curled up eyebrows, and he looks kind of happy mad all the time. It's very Norman Osborn. You can put the two of them together, and it's very like DC Marvel crossover.
Nice.
You had to do it, right? Like,
well, I had to make the guys fun to draw.
Yeah. So I mean, we've all been asking for a good Marvel and DC crossover, and this is your chance. This is as close as you get.
I didn't even mention that I made Ben Franklin just Venom.
Got all the stuff coming off.
Well, he had the long floofy hair. That'd be hilarious if it was all black and wavy. But he's like super mellow because he smoked a bunch of weed or something. He's got the big circular eyes, but they're all red. And I don't know. Maybe I should have done that. No, it was fun. I mean, it was a really fun book to work on. It was just every 3 pages or so was a new major figure from American history. So I had to go in and basically design caricatures for all of these guys, like Thomas Jefferson, James Madison, James Monroe, Ben Franklin, Aaron Burr, Alexander Hamilton, Alexander Hamilton's family. There's Elizabeth Schuyler, his father-in-law, Philip Schuyler, his son, who was also shot to death at the same place by the same guns 2 years earlier. All these crazy characters. And the great thing is that there's extensive paintings and things done of almost all of them. And they're all really weird-looking people. So that was kind of fun. John Quincy Adams, he's very fun to draw.
Now, how does the format for this kind of a book work? Is it just like how many pages? I don't know.
They're hardcover, 90-page, full color. I guess you would call them graphic novels. Like, they're not going to be like floppies. They're not individual issues or anything. And it's a little bit undersized too from a regular comic book. I think it's they're 9 1/4 by 6 1/4, so they're a little bit shrunk down from a regular thing. They should make really. Yeah, it's a little smaller. It's not like manga tankobon or anything like that. It's a little bit bigger.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of that real estate's going to they're hardcovers, so there's going to be a little bit of. It's going to be a nice little package. I can't wait to see them.
Interesting. So are they all going to be packed together then? Is that the deal with it? No,
they're going to be individually available. They're actually all on Amazon now, which is why I know that it's okay to talk about it in public because all this stuff's out there already. Yeah, they're going to be individual, and I don't know if there's any plans to release them as like a box set. I think that would be pretty sweet, wouldn't it?
Mm-hmm.
That would be pretty sweet. They should get me to do some box art for that sort of thing. Or Ian Churchill. Ian Churchill's doing the covers for all 4 books, which is pretty cool. I didn't realize it was him. I'd seen the art for months, and I'm like, oh, it's Ian. That's pretty great. He's kind of amazing. But yeah, there's no plans to do it as a full thing. But I think the idea is that if they're popular enough, then we'll continue to make more. So I hope people dig them.
So how'd you get roped into doing something like this?
I was approached by the fellow who's doing the lettering and the graphic design. His name's John Rochelle, and he works for a company called Comicraft. And I've been friends with Richard Starkings. He founded Comicraft years ago, and I've been friends with him for a long time. So I think Richard, I don't know for sure, but I think Richard probably put my name forward for the project. And I think I'm a pretty good fit for it. So
nice.
Awesome.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I had to draw an awful lot of airplanes and an awful lot of powdered wigs, but it worked out pretty well. Not at the same time, mind you, but.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, so, no, go for it.
Well, I was just going to say, I want to go back and ask a little bit about your book about your daughters. So I always love to hear the beginnings of things. So, I mean, it's true for a reason. Kids say the darndest thing, but like having your daughters and, you know, being around them, was there like a particular day or a particular moment where you're watching them go about their day, or, you know, listening to them do stuff where you were just like, I really, really need to like write this down or draw this? What, you know, was there that moment where it was like, oh, this needs to be recorded?
Well, part of it was that I had been doing Strangebeard for 6 months or so, 7 months, and Strangebeard is a full color, bright pirate comic book. Like, there's a lot of research that goes into it. It's fairly detailed. I won't say it's very detailed. It's pretty cartoony. I get away with a lot of stuff, but it's a lot of work, and I wanted to draw something that was a little bit less intensive, that I didn't have to do a lot of research, and I also wanted to document my kid. I mean, I think my oldest was, I'm not sure. She must have been between 8 and 10 months, I think. And I was home with her. Her mom had gone back to work, and I was with her when I was working at night. And I just kind of wanted to document it a little bit. You know, the first kid is always luckier that way, because you kind of have more one-on-one time, and it's kind of easier, and you kind of are left to your own devices, and you're kind of thinking to yourself, how can I do something that's artistic while also making sure that you're not, you know, destroying something in the next room, right? So I decided I was going to do a drawing of her every day in my sketchbook, just with like a ballpoint pen. There's something really easy that was a little bit less intensive than Strangebeard. And that lasted for about 2 days. And then I got super bored with it, because it's a drawing. Who cares? They're not changing that much. It's like drawing your house plant every day. It's like the differences are marginal. So after that, I don't even remember what the genesis was of the first adventure strip, but I really love, do you guys know James Kachalka?
No, I'm not.
He did a daily diary strip about his family every day for 9 years.
Wow. And
he collected it as a comic called American Elf. It's through, I want to say Top Shelf. I think it's Top Shelf, and it's great. It's really, really great. James is one of my favorite cartoonists ever. And the thing I loved about American Elf is that it was just everyday banal things that happened to suit his fancy that he would make into a comic book. And I thought that was really admirable, because there'd be some days where the most interesting thing that would happen was that his kid dropped a sandwich on the floor. And some days the most interesting thing that would happen would his wife had a miscarriage. Or, you know, there would be a day when he slept too late and he felt bad. Or there'd be a day when his father was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease. So there was, like, if you read it day by day.
It was always like I like a huge thing, that life-changing moment, to just the most random, most boring thing in the world, eh? Yeah, exactly. And I mean, if you read it like on the daily basis, you're like, okay, this is fine. But I found if I dug back into his archives and I read like 6 months at a go,
you go through this big, because you can feel things intensifying through his life, because he's a true artist, and he wants to communicate the emotions of the day as best he can. So you can feel things intensify and flatten out, and then dive bomb, and then kind of go back up, and like a year's worth of 6 out of 10 days, punctuated by 10 out of 10 emotional days, is really something to read. Like, it was really shocking to me that the effect that could have, and I wanted to. I think in the back of my head, I wanted to communicate that a little bit. But that was more when I decided I was actually going to make a book out of it instead of just document my kids day by day. So I think I started with just like a trip to the library. My kid wanted to go outside and I didn't want to go outside, and it was snowing. I thought, okay, well, let's be brave. Let's be adventurers. And then from there on in, I'm like, okay, that's what we're going to call it. And then I've done, I think, 225 strips so far over the last couple of years. I really tailed off over the last year because I did the book, and then I got busy with the Hamilton book, and then I got busy with the Earhart book, and then I got busy with the Hamilton book again. So that kind of tailed off, but I want to get back to it, I think.
Now, are you going to pump out another book then?
Probably not another adventurers book anytime soon. I'm still trying to figure out the market for the first one, and my focus right now is going to be finishing the Strangebeard sequel, because that's meant to be a series. That's probably going to be 4 or 5 books. I originally was like, it's going to be 6, and then I made one. I'm like, it's going to be 2. But I want to do that as a full series. That's going to be at least 4 books. I think I've got enough solid material out of that. So I'm going to finish the second one. And then around that time that one's done, then there's going to be, I'm probably going to do a little tour for the history books. And that's going to be March. They're supposed to come out March 19th, I think is the street date right now. Both of them on the same day. So that's exciting. And then I don't know what's going to go on after that. It might be another historical book. I might end up doing another adventurers book. It could be something new.
Awesome.
So in the 225 strips that you've drawn and collected so far, do you have one that holds a soft spot or strikes you as either one of your favorites that drawing it, you really enjoyed drawing it, or the moment that you're capturing was like, yeah, that makes my insides feel good?
Oh, man. I mean, the sentimental stuff, the first book is called Love You Very So Much, because that's what my oldest used to say when I put her to sleep. She goes, Daddy, I love you very so much. And I thought that, it's like, okay, that's a book. Once in a while, your kid will do something, you're like, that's a book, or that's a comic right there. I'm at this point now, I have to text them to myself, or else I'll forget. So I get these random texts, and I'll be like, Taco Ninja. Okay, sure. At least it's documented. I'm sure that made sense to me at some point. If I read you the text that I sent to myself, it would sound like Siri having a brain hemorrhage. The one that's probably people liked the most is probably my daughter was dancing in just her diaper once, and she goes, Dad, I'm naked, I'm naked, I'm naked. And I said, technically, you're semi-nude because you're still wearing a diaper. And then she threw a diaper off. I said, touche.
Smart cookie, that one.
And that's the one that people like the most, I think, overall. That's the one where people come back. That's the one where people see me in real life. They're like, remember the one where she threw a diaper off? And you're like, well played? I'm like, yeah. Quite vividly. That was a good one. The ones that have the most impact for me, though, are when I set out to do the book, I wanted to tell a more emotional story as well as the comedy bits, because the comedy book, great, people will carve right through it, and that'll be that. So I figured the best thing to do would be to tell something that would sort of put people through the ringer a little bit. So I told the story of when my daughter had heart surgery when she was 8 months old. She had a ventricular septal defect in her heart. So I made a little, I think it was 8 pages out of that. And I warned people, because the background color in the adventure strips are black and white and blue. And the ones that are about the heart surgery are black and white and orange, to warn people that they'd be more impactful. And when I finally sat down to do those original strips for the book, I thought I was over it. I thought I'd gotten past everything. And I was not. I had not dealt with it in the slightest. So sitting down to work on the the pages was one of the hardest things I've ever had to do. Certainly the hardest thing I've ever had to do as a cartoonist. I mean, late nights are one thing, but like sitting there openly sobbing at your drafting table, you're trying to communicate something that's really going to rip people's guts out. Because why would you do it otherwise, right? Like you need to go for it. You got to Meryl Streep it. You know, you don't want to Rob Schneider the story of your kid almost dying. You know, you want to go full Meryl Streep. We're gonna Jessica Chastain the living heck out of it. So that was probably the ones that affected me the most overall. And those are the ones that I kind of go back to. And those are the ones that people like that have read the book come back to me and they're like, oh my God. One friend of mine, I left her a copy of the book at a comic book show and then I drove home and I checked my phone when I got home and it was just full of text. And she's like, what the hell? She's like, dude.
How could you do this to me, man?
You did not warn me. I'm like, nope, unexpurgated. It's like, just watch it. It's like Hereditary. It's going to put you through the ringer. But I think that's what's the point of doing it otherwise, right?
Well, and I mean, all the best art does that, right? Like it evokes such strong emotions. So
people love Up, and that's starts with an old lady dying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, go up and ring that bell.
It's one of my favorites, and I watch it, and at the beginning makes me weep openly. And I do it unabashedly because.
And at the end of the movie, there's dogs flying biplanes.
That's a mark of a great movie.
The full spectrum of human emotion.
Yeah, I get the whole thing going on in there. Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, Guardians of the Galaxy 2, you're like sad that a raccoon is sad. Like, that's great. I love that.
Yeah. Now, for those of our listeners and viewers who may be late to the party, can you talk about the first volume of Strangebeard and maybe catch them up a little bit on the story, tease them a little bit, encourage them to go out and get it in preparation of this new volume coming out, and then maybe talk a little bit about where you're picking up from and, you know, without spoiling, tease what readers might have in store coming
There's
at them?
So much good stuff I couldn't even spoil it all. It's like a buffet. Just go and try it. There's so many lovely things. Strangebeard, for the uninitiated, is a webcomic. It's about the world's greatest pirate. It's also a 12-year-old girl. The long elevator pitch of it is on the night of her 12th birthday, the young Jenny Brigham is gifted a hat that once belonged to the long-dead pirate emperor, Augustus Strangebeard. When she puts it on her head, she is suddenly possessed by the ghost of the long-dead pirate emperor. And since he was missing an eye and had a hook hand and a peg leg, and she has all of those things, suddenly she has supervision. She has a mighty punch and an amazing kick. But she's also earned the wrath of the 7 deadly super pirates who were the ones who killed the old pirate to begin with. So now she's got to get together a crew, she's got to find a ship, and she's got to get out on the water and escape before the first and deadliest of those super pirates, a Dracula pirate by the name of Captain Memoria Mortar, comes for her, drains her blood, and even worse, steals her gold. So that was volume 1. Basically, those are all the bits and pieces that went on there. And then volume 2 picks up, without getting too spoilery about what happens in volume 1, picks up in volume 2, where Jenny is still on the water and she's looking for the 7 effects of Strangebeard, the different pieces of his accoutrement. Like she has his hat, but there's also his hook, his gun, his peg leg, his coat, his sword, those sort of things. And she collects all 7 of them. She becomes the Pirate Empress. She has dominion over the seas. So basically she's on a quest to try and find these things. But the second one is a lot more emotional because it deals less with the adventure elements as much as the stress of a 12-year-old being in charge of a crew of pirates, not really, for the first time in her life, having a direction in life, but it's a scary, difficult one. Like she's a landlubber and suddenly she needs to know about sailing. She's worked in a restaurant her entire life, but suddenly she has to deal with deadly monsters who want her dead. And also her trying to use her natural cleverness to get ahead. And I also broke it up too. I didn't make it full 5-issue arc like I did the first one. It's 2 arcs. The first 2 issues, she's dealing with a pirate who has one of the effects aboard his pirate ship, which transforms into a giant wooden Tyrannosaurus called Shipwrecks.
Yes, it does.
So he's the problem in the first two, and then in the third, fourth, and fifth issues, I broke them up into issues because I'm an old school comics guy. Jenny has to deal with a sea monster called Sargassus, which lives inside of sort of a Sargasso Sea, where a bunch of pirate ships have been lodged in the murk and they can't escape, and that's where one of the pirate masters is hiding. So she's got to go in there and deal with someone who is only known as the Electric Pirate, and also this giant sea monster. And I'm almost done the whole volume. I've only got 10 more pages to go, and I'm kind of keen to get back to it and finish it off. So I think it's pretty good. I think thematically and dramatically, it's a little bit stronger than the first one. So I'm keen to finish it off.
Awesome.
Nice.
So where can people find your history book there? And where can they find all your kind of awesome comic book stuff?
Well, the only way to get Strangebeard right now is to read it through the website. It's strangebeard.com. Pretty easy to track that down. My plans for the future, I'll get to that in a second. You can also read the adventures at the-adventurers.com, or you can pick that one up as a nice little hardcover for my store, my online store. It's kellytindall.bigcartel.com. So KELLYTINDALL.bigcartel.com. And if anybody picks it up in the next 24 hours, I will throw in a free sketch for anybody who does that. Just something fancy for your listeners.
I've also been watching your Twitter there, and you're watching all the Ninja Turtle sketches you've been putting out.
Yeah. I'm doing a 4x6 drawing of a Ninja Turtle every day in October.
Inktober, yeah.
Got a couple coming up that people are going to dig.
Yes.
This was today's.
Yeah.
Nice.
There's a bunch over here. I got a bunch worked up here, but yeah, I've been doing that too. So I'll throw something like that in if anybody picks up a book. The history books, they're not published by me. They're published by a big, awesome conglomerate. So those are be coming out and available in bookstores, Amazon, that sort of thing in March. So watch the skies for that. And as for Strangebeard, I'm gonna republish that first volume. I'm gonna make another. I think what we're gonna do. I'm almost done it. I'm gonna Kickstart it again. We're gonna go back to Kickstarter. And I'm going to do a 2-for-1. I'm going to reprint volume 1, and I'm going to print volume 2. Volume 2 is shaping up pretty nicely. I've got a pretty amazing person who's doing another forward for me. I never thought I could get him. It was pretty great. I was pretty hyped. Anybody who's a big pirate fan like me is going to be psyched. And I've lined up a pretty great group of people to do pinups for volume 2 as well. The first one, it's not quite as crazy as the first one. The first one, I had Tim Sale and Fiona Staples. So that was way up here. So not going to be quite as big as that, but still pretty amazing. Some really awesome artists. And then that's going to be what I'm going to start pretty soon, actually. The Kickstarter is almost ready to go, so I think it's probably going to launch somewhere on the 15th, 20th, something like that, run for 30 days, and then that's going to be Christmas for me.
Awesome. Keep us informed, and we'll make sure we put that
yeah, man. When it comes out, we'll come
plug
back on.
that like crazy for you.
I'll just stand here like one of those guys in the thing. Do you remember this book? We talked about it earlier. Now you can buy it. Go on down to kellytindall.com and pick up these amazing comic books. Do you like pirates? Of course you do. You don't like pirates? Well, what about little girls? You don't like little girls? What's wrong with you? Everybody loves little girls. What about giant wooden Tyrannosaurus Rexes? You don't like those? What's wrong with you, kid?
Exactly.
Yeah, I'll be like that guy in the late night TV that's got the question marks all over his jacket, hawking encyclopedias.
Yep.
Should do that for the Kickstarter video.
Should. All right. So that's awesome. Anything else you need to let us know before we head into our next break?
No, do your break.
All right. Stay tuned. All right, so this episode of the Northern Nerdcast is brought to you by ATB. Right now, you can turn your deposits into dream experiences. It's not just another bank promotion because we're not just another bank. It's how we reward our customers every single month. A deposit, so you can, right now, you can bank to win. You make a deposit into your checking account and you will be automatically entered into this month's draw of $20,000. And a bonus, win a $5,000 bonus when you also make a MasterCard purchase or payment this month. You can also save to win $20,000. Make a deposit into your savings or investment accounts to automatically enter into this month's draw as well. So go and check out atb.com, and you guys can follow some of the links. It'll have all the information about all their awesome ways to win with ATB. So if you are not, if you're right now, if you're banking with ATB, go check this out. Go ask your local person over at your ATB branch. So go and check that out, and you can just deposit yourself into money. I don't know where I was going with that, but we'll leave it there. All right.
That's what happens when we fly by the seat of our pants with ad copy.
That is the best kind of ad copy I can tell you right now. Deposit yourself. Win.
Scotiabank is thinking, that's a good one. I like that.
Yeah.
We want your deposit.
Yeah. ATB. All right. So we have a few events.
What's coming up, Dan? Tell all the good people where they need to go and get their geek on.
All right. So right now, we have game days coming up for the Edmonton Extra Life. Once again, if you guys would like to donate, please go check out the link down below, and you guys can donate to the Stollery kids there. But they are in the process right now of finalizing all the various game day event details. So if you are interested in participating in Extra Life as the Edmonton Extra Life team, you will be able to find that out soon. Go over to facebook.com and you guys look up Extra Life Edmonton, and there you guys will find some information about the event coming up. It's not up yet. Stay tuned. So go like the page, get ready, it'll be there. Also, we have on October 19th, we got Hello Land 2019. This will be at Fulton Place Community League. And, it's just another big LAN party for all the people out there. If you are into, gaming and all that kind of stuff, the cost is $20 for the whole weekend. And it's going to be it sounds like it's going to be a great time. So go check that out. We will have that information in the description box down below. Not there yet. I will make sure I put it there before the night's over. Also, we have a video game tournament over at the Rec Room. More video game awesomeness. It's a really big theme tonight for my. It's all like video games tonight. Sorry. Send me more information about some other events that are happening out there that maybe aren't video game related, and I'll put that in there. But for right now, today it's all video game stuff. So we got video game tournament happening at the Rec Room. This is happening on October 30th. So, if you want Halloween video game awesomeness, it's $10 per team of 2 and $5 for scene members. And you guys can sign up at wim@therecroom.com. All right. Now, moving along, we have DPX, and this is happening on November 16th to 18th. And we've had DPX on our show, so if you want to find out more information about them, check out our episode on DPX. That's it. That's all the awesome stuff that we have happening in the city. There's always lots of awesome stuff happening in the city. Kelly, where can people find you once again?
Best to find me at kellytindall.com, strangebeard.com, the-adventurers.com. You can check me out on Facebook or on the Twitters at kellytindall.com or Instagram, Mr. Kelly Tindall.
And at the Twitters there, that's where you guys can find all his fancy pictures of
Inktober sketches.
Inktober, yes.
Yes.
They're not for sale now, but will be for sale at the end of the month.
Oh, really? That's awesome.
Yeah. Or I'll probably just throw them in with the Kickstarter too.
Mm-hmm. Okay, awesome. So go check that out. Go get his book. It's gonna be good times. And that's it for us on this episode of the Nerdcast. Thank you, Chelsea, for joining us tonight.
Always my pleasure. Thanks so much, the internationally renowned, lovely, and talented Kelly Tindall, for gracing us with your presence this evening.
Yes, awesome.
Thank you for having me, guys.
That's it. So that's all the time we have for this episode of the Nerdcast. I want to thank everyone out there who listens to this show and ask if you can share it with your friends on social media. The Northern Nerdcast is a proud member of the Alberta Podcast Network, powered by ATV, and is produced by myself, along with Chelsea Thompson and Trina Schessel. You can find more information on the Northern Nerd Network by checking us out on Twitter at Northern_Nerd, on Facebook.com/Northern Nerd, YouTube.com/Northern Nerd Network, or even on our very own website, NorthernNerdNetwork.com. That's all the time we have, and I want to thank everyone for listening to this edition of the Nerdcast, and I'll see you guys on the next one.